let's talk about those three exercises, Stuart. There are three exercises. There's two of them that I've done consistently for quite some time. I really fancy them a bit. The third one, the bird dog, I only do occasionally. But let's go through the three of them. And is it safe to say that you and just for the listener, we're going to link to videos of these, right? So you're going to do your best to explain them and provide the rationale for them. But ultimately, a demonstration will be forthcoming through videos we'll link to in the show notes. But this is kind of like your core nutrition, right? This is sort of everybody should be doing this. You don't wait till you have back pain to do this. Is that safe to say?
No, it isn't. No, this is a bit of a myth and something that I've been fighting basically my whole career. McGill is the McGill Big Three.
Okay.
There are some people that are far too stiff, and this is not the mechanism of their back pain, and we don't need to go there. Have you ever seen the type of body build where they have a huge pneumatic cushion in front called a belly, and it slaps on their thighs? It's that pendulous of this. Do you ever see spine instability in that type of architecture? I don't.
Interesting.
So probably those people have difficulty getting on and off the floor. The Big Three is not for them.
Got it.
So there might be, again, the assessment always leads us to the solution. And so, no, the Big Three, well, let me, I need to have a discussion of what stability is in terms of creating resilience and performance. Then why are those particular exercises important? And then how to do them. If I could follow that logic line, Peter.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it. And then the other thing, Stuart, if you want to throw it in there, do you want to talk about some of the hallmarks of your assessment, wherever it fits into those three things? So take it away. Yeah.
All right. So remind me, we're going to talk about non-specific low back pain and how I think it's a myth and it doesn't exist. That will take us into the assessment.
Okay.
So let's go back to a basic discussion of stability. So if I was, I might use an example of a backhoe. So a backhoe is a machine with a tractor, and it has an arm on the back to dig earth. The first thing the operator does is put down the stabilizer bars to lock the tractor into the ground, because if you don't do that, you can't pull earth, you just pull the machine around. So what's the human equivalent of that? We live in a linkage, just like machinery. In other words, let's take the bench press muscle, pec major. Pec major originates on my rib cage, spans my ball and socket joint of the shoulder, and inserts on the humerus. So when I contract and shorten the pec major, it flexes my arm. So if I'm wanting to do a push or a punch, there it is. That's on the distal side of the joint. Proximally, that same muscle shortening collapses my rib cage towards my shoulder joint. So if all I used was the muscle that spans the joint, that isn't a very effective push. All I'm doing is collapsing my own linkage, or as an engineer, we would say, well, we've just created an energy leak. So I'm now going to build proximal stiffness. So I'm going to lock my core, create stiffness through my torso, which is proximal to the joint. So now when I contract the muscle, 100% of the motion is directed distally. Now I've got my push. So what is the best, most efficient way to create a proximal stiffness? We searched for years doing all kinds of tests of every abdominal exercise you could think of, back exercises, twisting, Palloff presses, throwing things, etc. The three exercises that kept bubbling up to the top in the criteria of sparing the spine while you're doing them, because these people are hurting. You don't have carte blanche to load up their spine. A guaranteed stability or proximal stiffness, And it was later in my career that we found there is a residual stiffness that occurs. So if you do the big three and you are an NFL football team, if you do the big three prior to practice, you will run and cut just a little bit faster. So you're on the field, you run, and you cut. The stiffer the core, when the hips explode into external rotation, you're now creating a faster directional change. So what were the muscles, or what were the exercises? A modified curl up, which, remember, I'm just going to start a little bit of an assessment. I'm going to take a patient, I'm going to have them sit on a stool, and I say, do you have symptoms right now? And humor me, and let's say you don't. Now I'm going to say, drop your chest down. Does that cause you? Oh, yeah. My left toe is going numb, and I've got back pain. Good. Bring your chin down. And they might say that'll increase their pain or decrease it. But the point is that posture created their pain. If that is true, when they lay on their back and they imprinted their back into the floor doing a Pilates roll up, for example, that would be their specific pain trigger. So it's not much of a therapeutic exercise, but we can say, put your hands under your low back as you're laying on the ground, lift your elbows, now hover up your head, neck, and shoulders. And we're going to propel the abdominal contraction, breathe through pursed lips, and allow the diaphragm to become the athlete inside this barrel. So that was the foundation of the modified curl up. Now, if the person has a rotator cuff issue, or we will hack it and make it tolerable. Then I would see people, well, let's take a dumbbell or a kettlebell, and we're going to raise it up laterally in the frontal plane like this for the side of the core. That would trigger pain in a lot of people, but I'll demonstrate all this if you want. But we could then do a side plank on the floor. The beauty of the side plank is only half the musculature is heavily challenged. The downside is heavily challenged. The upside is not. You've only got half the load on the spine. Very spine sparing. We prescribe it on 10-second intervals. Why? We use the Russian training science to show you build endurance through repeated 10-second exposures, not getting tired to the point where you break form. Mm-hmm. Nor do you develop a neural fatigue, and you get a much higher tolerable training level with this, what we call the Russian descending pyramid. And then for the back muscles, look at the beauty of the bird dog, where you extend one leg, the opposite arm. One half of my low back is active. One half of my upper back is active on the other side. We're developing a nice PNF pattern. We're creating stiffness and stability in the core. We're teaching the brain to disassociate ball and socket joint motion of the shoulders and hips with only half the spine load of, say, a Roman chair extension or something like that. So that bubbled up to be a fabulous exercise. Then we did experiments where we would train people. We would just have a single session exposure. We would measure the core stiffness prior to doing the big three. They'd do the big three on the Russian descending pyramid, and then we would remeasure their torso stiffness. Peter, they were stiffer. And some of my muscle physiology colleagues said, well, you've added a turgidness to the muscle. I don't think so. I think the brain created a lasting neural stiffness, and in some people it lasts about 20 minutes. Some people it lasts longer. So you will see some patients who say, you know, when I do the big three, I don't have pain for the next hour. Fabulous. What you're going to do is mid-morning, do a 12-minute big three session, mid-afternoon, do a 12. So these are the little tricks and hacks to slowly wind a person down out of pain.
I'm Peter Attia. This podcast relies exclusively on premium subscribers for support, which allows us to provide all our content without taking a single penny from advertisers. I believe this keeps my content honest, making it a trusted resource for listeners like you. As a premium member, you'll get immediate access to our entire back catalog of AMA episodes and all future AMA episodes. You'll get longevity-focused premium articles packed with actionable insights. You'll get unrivaled show notes for each and every episode of The Drive, every topic, every study, every resource from each episode carefully curated for you. You'll get quarterly podcast summaries where you'll learn my biggest personal takeaways from the previous 90 days of expert guest episodes and much more. This journey doesn't have to be navigated alone. We can take these steps towards a better, longer life together. Become a premium member today at peterattiamd.com/subscribe to join me in a shared commitment to a healthier future.